Welcome to Screencast, Kind of Funny's only entertainment-based podcast where we come together and talk about streaming services, movies, and TV shows.
You're a loud typer. I just want you to know that. It's distracting.
First off, I haven't typed once since the show started, Nick.
He said
God, why is he on this? You said I could be on if he wasn't on. I didn't say I'd be on if he was on it too.
And then Kevin trained me after 6 hard years to not say anything when the audio's up. And then I hear this. Clicky, 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 clicky.
It hasn't been 6 years, has it?
We got a whole lot of dude on the show today.
Yeah, a whole lot.
Yeah, where's Joey? I thought Joey was going to be on the show. I'm excited to hang out and do a show with
Joe,
Joey.
I called Joey and I was like, Joey, I got that cake you wanted. Where's are you going to be there? She's like, nah.
We run the company, right? Do people check in with any of us when they're just not here?
No. Joey called me last night. I was like, I'm trying to figure out my morning. What are you doing? Can you pick this cake up for me or what's up? I was like, yes, boss. Are we live?
Oh, yeah, we're live. Mm-hmm. We are live on Twitch right now. We are streamed every Friday. Normally, today's Thursday, around 11:30, I guess.
Why are we doing that?
I'm going to tell you one thing right now.
We got Hobbs and Shaw tomorrow that we're going to do.
We're going to take all the Mountain Dew from KFAF yesterday. Great episode, by the way. Go ahead and watch that. And we're going to take it into the theater, and me and Greg are going to cannonball that shit.
Cannonball! It's you, me, and Jen. How much Mountain Dew can we get through?
A lot. We're going to hoop it.
If you don't want to watch this live, you can go to...
sparkling water bottle where you turn it upside down.
He's made that up. You can watch us on YouTube or Rooster Teeth. If you don't want to look at our ugly mugs, you can go to your favorite streaming service, your favorite podcast streaming services, and find us there.
Sorry.
If you want to help support us, you can go to patreon.com/kindoffunny and support at whatever tier you want. Some of the tiers get you to talk with us, like the bronze tier. You know?
It's my favorite tier.
Yeah.
Truth be told.
It's a great tier.
Gold tier, great tier. Yeah. Bronze tier, favorite tier.
Or you can be a Patreon producer like this week we have David Mintel.
The Mind Freak. I'll tell you one thing right now. We have been having a lot of fun coming up with nicknames for everyone that's Patreon producer.
Bird Meg.
Well, we've scared everyone else off. So.
Robin GL is RGL now. And when we say RGL, Andy goes, well, there it is. That's great.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah. Well, how about that? Huh? I'm Iron Man.
Because Andy does a bad Iron Man impression. That's what
he sucks so fucking bad.
I am your host, Kevin Coelho, and today...
You didn't read all of the names.
No, it's just David Mintel.
It's August 1st.
It's August 1st.
We've turned a new leaf.
How about this, Tim? Just do what I do when I'm not hosting the show. I come in here, I do 3 uppers, 1 downer, and I just let it go. All right?
You got 2 uppers,
1 downer.
Let's do the old 3 upper, 1 downer.
I like Dr. Mario inside me. You know what I mean?
Drop the pill on my tongue.
So today we've got directly to my right, Greg, my friend, Miller.
That's right. We had breakfast today.
Hey, we did. It was great.
Yeah.
God, Leach's
looking for
good.
that second half of that burrito. Yeah.
Oh, yeah? You're
It's going to be
saving it for later, huh?
Big old
Nice.
lunchtime.
To your right, Nick, the man with the 3-fingered review,
Hello.
Scarpino.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Screencast.
To your right, my left,
are you re-introing the show?
I was thinking about it.
is Tim, my enemy, Gettys.
Do you come up with a new thing every
Call
week?
him a friend of me. He's your
Friend of me. That's a really good.
That's what it is. A fun of me. That's fun.
No,
Fun
I hate
enemy.
him. I hate him.
Like he gets to bang him occasionally.
Jesus
But then you
Christ.
have the guys.
like
All right,
Catwoman,
let's
like
talk
Catwoman
about
or a black
fun
cat.
things that we've been watching recently. I got through, most of Euphoria. We have 1 episode left.
My wife is watching that. She likes it a
Dude,
lot.
I'm
But
watching
she's
it.
very stressful.
That show
Very
is
stressful.
very stressful.
Phenomenal.
And awesome.
She called me yesterday and she was like, "We're never having kids, and here's why." I started watching Euphoria. I can't deal with these teenagers.
Nope.
It's
So
a
I have
real
to kill
show.
them before they get to
They're
teenage
all
years.
crazy.
Dude, the thing I love most about it is that it's Degrassi, but on HBO, where they're just like, fuck it. Degrassi went there. Degrassi's like, oh, it's all the high school drama. And there was a lot of high school. There was the shootings, wheelchair Jimmy, never forget, all of that. But HBO with Euphoria, they're like, fuck it. We're going to like really get into the shit that these teenagers are getting into. As hard the drugs as possible, they're going to do them. There's going to be a lot of fucking. There's going to be a lot of dick. Because in high school, there's a lot of dicks.
There's a lot of dicks.
A lot of
dicks. That was my
boobies, too.
biggest problem with my high school. Was everywhere you turn, dick. Jesus, man. Put some of the
and
dick
that's
away.
Euphoria, man. I'm loving it. I love
Is
the
it-
look of it. I love the soundtrack. I love all the actors.
I'll put a pin in that real quick. For the question about the show, you said you're almost done. Is it done? Because I'm binging it right now with Jen.
Season 1 ends next week.
Okay,
Or
cool.
I'm
This
sorry,
Sunday.
this Sunday.
Because I was trying to figure, we got through, no spoilers, but we got through the Carnival episode last night. And when that was happening,
That's where I'm at.
I had Jen pause it. I'm like, is this is this like the finale? Because like the way the music was building and all the different threads were coming together, I was like, are they all about to
Beautiful,
explode?
man.
Yeah.
Beautiful. It's such a great end.
I agree with everything you said, except the soundtrack. I feel like at times the soundtrack is just like like
Distracting.
Exactly. Where it's like all of a sudden it's like very like orchestral, but like quirky and quaint. And it's like, wait, why is it getting like this right now? Let's
I love
stick
it.
to the
I
real
feel
music.
Because I feel like that's part of what draws me to it is that it's chaos, but it's like it's designed. Like that was a choice, and like I can see that not everybody vibing with it, but it really to me makes the show special and unique.
Yeah, I dig it too. The soundtrack is great, but like my favorite part is the writing. Like these characters are so well done, and there's so many like cool characters. Like the what is it, Fez, the
much
drug
drug
dealer.
Oh my God, right?
And
yeah, the drug dealers are
what
awesome.
I assume is his little brother.
Yeah,
who's
right?
even better.
Who's in charge of everything?
Yeah. It's a great show. Highly recommend it.
Zendaya's great too. Like
she's phenomenal.
you know, I wasn't too familiar with her work besides Spider-Man.
Me neither, yeah.
And
Same.
seeing this is just like God, she's so good.
Well, that's what I keep talking about when Jen and I are reflecting on this. I had no idea, knowing nothing about her. And I mean, I've heard of Zendaya before, but not knowing what she was in until Spider-Man. I think she's great Spider-Man, but then the range she shows here, right, where she's just the drug addict or whatever, but then when she has those honest moments, when she needs to show rage, when she goes, it's like, wow, fuck, you're really doing a great job doing it. And it's a show that for real keeps me guessing in terms of what's going to happen.
And a lot of the characters act real. Like I appreciate it where it's like they're making choices that seem realistic, not smart, but realistic of how people would be in those situations.
Yeah.
Especially some of the like the boyfriend girlfriend situations and like them getting in fights and how they take out their anger in different ways.
Right.
Some of it very inappropriate ways, but
yeah.
that's what happens.
Yeah. I'm very interested to see where it goes.
Yeah, I'm very excited for the season finale, and I'm excited to get more of the show because it's damn good.
Yeah, you guys are talking me into watching this.
You should really watch it.
Well, I know
Honestly,
you don't
it is
like dicks.
fantastic.
I love dicks.
Or sex,
Yeah.
titties, or Ferris
I
wheels.
know,
So yeah,
that's
probably not a show for you.
Ferris, nobody likes Ferris
Is a
wheels.
show
First
for
off,
you.
Ferris wheels is just like a joke that humanity played on itself.
I also really like that each episode like starts and centers on one character, and we get
Cool structure.
Yeah, it's
And the
really,
flashbacks
really
to
cool.
it, right?
Yeah,
The things they're doing with like Kat and her character progression, I've really, really dug.
Yeah,
There's moments of just brilliance when it comes to style over substance.
Yeah.
There's one moment that without spoiling stuff, it's like the camera kind of just is spinning.
Oh,
around
yeah.
It's a
to
great
show
moment, yeah.
time passing, and like it takes you out of the world, but it feels like it belongs.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't feel like a cheap gimmicky thing. It's like, oh, this is really cool, and this is what the show is.
yeah. I feel like the editing on the show is also very tight in like a great way.
HBO's been killing it in that respect
It
with
really
most
has.
shows. Like
can't-
because in terms of editing, we'll talk later about it. But Big Little Lies, like the editing in that show is phenomenal.
Yeah.
And I think with Euphoria, they're kind of like there's a vibe that they're going with that I'm really into.
Miller, you watch anything good this week?
Euphoria would be the top of the list. The Boys would be the second part of the list.
And we're going to talk more about
Yeah,
that
yeah,
as
so I
our
don't- I
big
don't-
topic
I don't
today.
wanna-
We're reviewing The Boys season
I went and saw
1.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yeah? You
last
like that?
week. Loved it. Loved it.
Yeah.
Great time.
movie.
Yeah,
Great
gotta
movie.
see that. There's so many movies to see.
Yeah.
I gotta see that. I gotta see The Farewell.
Yeah, I gotta see the
still out
farewell
there.
too. Yeah.
Farewell is really good. You
I was
should
trying to
highly
get
recommend
Dee
it.
to go see a movie with me yesterday, but she's not feeling well. I was like, we could go right now. She's, no, I can't do it. So we finished The Boys instead, which was a good use of our time.
Did you watch anything good this week?
No, the only thing I watched worth note is I'm finally going back and watching Star Trek: The Motion Picture.
Oh,
which is
interesting.
all the Star Trek, I believe, are on Amazon Prime.
That's
and
right. All of them jumped on.
I have not seen Star Trek: The Motion Picture since, for like 20 years. So I'm like, oh, this would be cool to go back and watch. And oh my God, they were really going for 2001: A Space Odyssey. It is slow as fuck. It is beautiful. There is no story. I shouldn't say there's no story. There's story, but there's like, it's very much, they wanted to move Star Trek into the sci-fi, like deep science fiction category, and then people were like, this is not what we want.
Maybe
And
you
then
should only go where we've gone before.
No, it's beautiful and it's cool and it's very cerebral.
Yeah.
And you can see a very, very distinct difference between that and like Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan, where you go and it's
Big,
like
big
that's
difference.
a much
Blockbuster.
faster
Yeah.
blockbuster
I mean, that-
movie with
but that also
with a
feels-
villain and a
That feels like an
protagonist.
extended episode to me.
No, to a degree, sure.
Yeah.
This would I would say that the motion picture is it has
Not the
hints
motion
of
picture. Sorry, Con.
Yeah, Khan definitely feels a lot more Star Trek-y.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the things you see here is like I was reading some of the trivia and they were talking about like how the characters were a little disappointed because they didn't really have a chance to explore their characters more in a cinematic setting because it was really a lot more about the visuals and this like just like the tone the entire time, and you can see it, man. It takes like it's taken me 3 days to watch this movie because I keep not falling asleep, but man, it just lulls you into like this like. It's just all music and cinematography, and it's gorgeous. And they were able to accomplish something amazing for the time. But holy crap, it is slow.
Yeah.
To the point where I'm almost like, I really want to just take a full version of this and cut it down to like an hour and a half, make it a fucking fast, just move it a fast clip because it could be a cool movie.
I would love for you to do that. I would watch it.
It would be. It's not hard.
Star Trek
would be
motion
hard.
picture, the
So
Nick
yeah,
cut.
There's
all
a solid
9
30 minutes of just a slow ship moving through space with orchestral music behind it. Wouldn't be hard.
all 9 of the non-Kelvin Star Trek movies are on Hulu now, so it's perfect if you want to watch Picard and don't really know what happened there. Even you're in the United States, you can now watch Nemesis and maybe the one before that to get closure on stuff and understand where we're at in the world.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, what's
which
really
I'm
cool,
excited to do.
another fun note about this, we can move on because I know people are bored with Star Trek talk, but one of the cool things I didn't realize when I saw it the first time was that the soundtrack from The Next Generation came from the original motion picture. So when you hear that song, they don't play the Star Trek song. It's actually that theme that Gene Roddenberry likes so much. He brought it back for The Next Generation. So
cool.
ba 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 ba. Or like, it's cool to see that with Kirk like
That's interesting.
gushing over the Star Trek Enterprise.
Yeah.
And the fucking costumes are so tight. Oh, they're tight.
Yeah.
Wow.
Space, man, space.
But
They're
there's a lot
so
of
tight.
double-breasted stuff, right? Where
No,
it's like,
no, not the original motion picture.
Really?
Barrett, are you there over there? Can you Google Star Trek, the original motion picture costumes and just show the audience how tight a costume can get? I don't know how they get in and out of these things. To the point where like I read a piece of trivia that said that all of them decided to come back, but the big stipulation was they had to change the costumes because they couldn't get in and out of them, go to the bathroom. Like,
Really?
dude, yeah.
That's shocking.
He'll show
I
you
didn't
in a
realize
second.
that. Like
they're tight.
I've seen the
like
original.
when
motion
Wrath
picture.
of Khan, the costumes are completely different. They're
Yeah.
a lot more flowy. They're a lot easier to get in and out of. They look like band uniforms.
Yeah.
These are like 70s.
That's what I was thinking.
tights. No.
Yeah.
Here, Barrett, are we working on this?
He's working on it. He
I
got it.
believe, is this it? No?
Yeah, but Google the one where he's So go down to the one where he's in the white uniform. Oh, you can get a sense for how tight they were there, but
Yeah, that one.
This one? Oh, yeah. Oh, wow.
they're a lot
There you
different. Google sleeve, like he's like short sleeve white. Okay, I'll try to find it. You guys can move on.
Okay, you can send it to assets. Tim Tam,
Yes.
you watch anything good this week that
I
we
did.
haven't already talked about?
I watched Endgame again.
Yeah.
But this time with director's commentary. That shit's available now. So Endgame is out digitally, out physically in 2 weeks, unfortunately. That's just how the world works nowadays. But I watched all the bonus features. They range from slightly interesting to very interesting. The deleted scenes are all really cool. Most of them you understand why they're deleted.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen?
I saw
saw-
the one of Cap talking to Don Cheadle, to Rhodey.
Oh, that was a great one.
Yeah,
That was
That's
a
a
great
good one.
one.
My
yeah.
favorite one is it's Rocket is talking to them and it's talking to Black Widow. It's just like, wait, like how long were you fighting the Chitauri? And she's like, I don't know, a couple hours. He's like, hours. He's like, they're like the weakest army in the. What are you talking about? Like, and then Tony comes up and like shaves Rocket. There's like a lot of fun little
part of
moments. His head, like it's like a reverse mohawk.
Is that canon?
That's fucked up.
And I guess not because he doesn't have that later.
Yeah.
But there's like a lot of little tiny fun things like that. The Hulk scene that I heard that they added in the re-release wasn't there,
Oh,
Which
interesting.
is weird.
which is weird.
What was
Yeah.
that scene? I don't remember.
So it's like the alternate way they would have introduced Hulk into the movie. Like after they're like, oh, we need a big brain, and then it'll cut. It was supposed to cut over to this like burning building, and then you kind of see like someone like go in and save everybody, and then he's the hero who's saving the day, and he's like kind of like big ego,
Gotcha,
being a Hulk hero and stuff, and it's silly, it's fun, but.
I felt like they didn't commit to the big ego thing. Like it starts definitely when like they're having the conversation and he's like, "Oh,
Taking
come
the
take a
photos and the
picture,"
selfies and stuff, yeah.
It felt like, "Oh, look, he was going to be a problem," and then they just drop it. No, it's just fine.
Yeah, that scene might be on the digital release. Just there's a bunch of different versions of watching the whole movie, and some are like with intro or whatever. I'm
they
like,
have the
I don't know
IMAX
if that's
version?
that. But it might be in there. No IMAX. Which is fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
But it might be. That's an IMAX thing though.
Yeah, I know.
Well, it's a Disney thing, really. They're being complicated. It's like, damn you. But the director's commentary is super cool. Great way to rewatch the movie that I've already seen a million times, and it is beautiful in 4K. Like
Yeah.
seeing all the scenes, it's just like it's so much The blacks are so black, guys. You'll never
Oh my
believe it.
God.
But it just looks great. It's a very, very beautiful movie, and seeing it this way is very cool. And the director's commentary, it's not just directors, it's the directors and writers. It's really cool, interesting stuff. And
Yeah,
I recommend it.
I definitely want to pick it up. And like, so that's the thing. I can buy it digitally and get all the bonus features that are going to be on the disc, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
it comes with
physical
all of
copies
them.
are so cool. You know?
And there's a lot of weird like
Are they?
featurettes that are like kind of like based on different characters, where it's like looking at Black Widow over the last 10 years, looking at Hulk, looking at Thor, like pretty much any of the main characters except Hawkeye get their these little like featurettes. But what's cool about them is there's like it's interview footage from almost all the movies.
That's awesome.
So it's like all spliced together. So you see Robert Downey Jr. over
That's awesome.
10 years, and there's like bits
really
with like Kevin Feige and I forget her name, Susie something. That's the casting person that's
Oh,
casting
yeah.
all of the
So
MCU
good.
movies.
She nailed it.
And seeing them kind of all interact over the years is really, really cool. Then the other thing I
Wait,
watched.
real quick before you move on, I just want to talk about one deleted scene because I feel like it added a lot. Well, not a lot, but it answers some question. And I mean, this is spoiler territory, but I feel like in-game spoilers. We're all
It's
good
fair.
now,
It's all fair
But
game,
you're
yeah.
warned, so mute me for the next little bit. There's one where everyone kneels.
yeah.
As Robert
After
Downey
Iron Man's
Jr.
dead,
Iron
yeah.
Man's dying, and we see a shot of Gamora walking away. So I guess she survived the snap and did just disappear. So
Yeah.
she's just out there somewhere. So that's interesting.
I mean, you have to imagine
Was that-
her.
is
She's
that a
like, I don't
concern?
know these fucking people.
Yeah, I mean that was the thing where it's like, why would she, I personally didn't understand why she would stay past the snap, but I guess he thought about something that kept her around.
Get rid of all the bad guys.
Yeah, but technically,
Get,
he doesn't
get-
know she's a good guy.
Well,
But the
the
snap
thought
does.
is like, yeah, like the.
I don't know if you know this. There's magic stones in a glove. And they're very smart stones, so fuck off.
But yeah, it was.
Don't be so
I-
reductive.
Why
sir.
are you on this show?
I don't know.
It was very vague of what her fate was.
Yeah. But
But
that,
we all knew she was alive. Did
it
anyone? I
doesn't make
never
any
heard this
fuck- it
theory.
doesn't make
that
any
anybody
sense.
was
Because-
concerned.
Doesn't make
it was
any
a
sense.
thing.
It
people,
would have
but
been
it was a thing.
interesting
That's my
if
man. We're
Guardians
smart
3 was
people.
about.
all right, Tim. What else did you watch?
Big Little Lies. Finally, I was waiting for the whole season to finish before binging season 2. I really, really liked season 1. I thought it was a little long, and I wish they would have maybe been 2 episodes shorter.
Interesting.
I feel the opposite about this season.
Really?
I fucking loved it.
Whoa,
And
'cause I feel like-
Yeah.
a lot of other people I've been talking to like seem to not be as into it, but I feel like a lot of it's weird behind the scenes drama with directors and
Yeah.
stuff that and there's also the like, oh, it's not actually based on the book. I don't give a fuck about the book.
Fuck the book.
story
Books are
of this is
dumb.
great.
Books
the
for
writing
nerds.
is
Said it for
fantastic.
years.
The characters I love all of them, and I feel like this season's entire goal was, hey, let's just be as dramatic as humanly possible. Every single character needs to be going through chaos in their lives, but it needs to make sense, and the way they all interact together needs to add up. And I think that they nailed it for the most part. I think the end kind of falls apart. Not the very end, but like the Meryl Streep is the bad guy, and she is fantastic.
God, I love Meryl Streep.
I
She
was
crushes
blown
this-
away.
crushes
Like
this
because
role.
everyone's always like, oh, she's so good and whatever. Seeing her in this, I was like, how are you a real person
Right.
that can act this well
Right.
and make me believe she's Elle from Death Note? Like she's so good at every single line she says is manipulating people around her, and you see it all happening, and it's just like you're just cheering for her to win because she's just so fucking evil and so good, and it feels right.
Well, it was that great thing of walking the line with her of, are you evil? Are you actually motivated to be by good intentions or bad intentions? Right? Because her entering into this season, right, of like her son's dead. She thinks there's foul play afoot. Like you start thinking about like what you would do for your kid or what your mom would do for you in that scenario, right? To then get there and then see her push it and it's like, man, I fucking hate you, but I kind of get it. And you're right. You don't know everything. Like there's things going on. But then obviously towards the end, she gets way more of like manipulative and taking things out of context and yada, 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 and like playing dirty pool. But yeah, God, is she good. Like I think it's an episode like maybe 2, but maybe even 1, where she's talking to somebody and like she pulls the cross over her mouth and like taps. And it's just like she does so many little fucking things that make it seem so seamless that that's who she is.
I believe that she's someone's mom.
Yeah.
You know, like she nailed this just like caring mom that like doesn't give a fuck about anybody else but her kids in a way that I haven't ever seen on screen. And Reese Witherspoon, fantastic.
Yeah?
Like, oh my God, she's great. Nicole Kidman, unreal. Like,
I mean, these are all like top tier
Shailene
actors.
Woodley is not top tier.
Right.
I think she brought it this season.
Really?
First season, she stood out as not being with everyone else. This one, I'm like, all right, she's
She's still a great actress.
she's getting her
though.
character down. And then Lenny Kravitz's daughter,
Zoe Kravitz.
Zoe, so good. Like she's really good at being somber. and she kind of nails it. Her storyline is my least favorite of the season, but I definitely recommend watching the show. It's totally worth it to see the writing and characters kind of work out and where it all goes. Some of the plot points towards the end I really don't like, and the way that they end Meryl Streep's story is, I think, flat out bad, because it feels
But that
lazy
doesn't
compared
ruin
to the
the
rest of
season
it.
for you?
Can I guess?
I mean,
No, you
can guess.
She does one of those things where she's about to talk and then a Mack truck hits her.
No.
Amnesia.
No. Although there are things like that. Anyway,
God,
it's great.
like the psychic shit or
Yeah.
whatever. Like that was like that whole. Get rid of this.
Yeah, I was saying my least favorite storyline is Bonnie's stuff, because it's just like it feels like it's gonna go somewhere, and then it goes somewhere. You're like, stop, and then it gets where it's going way too fast.
Yeah.
I feel like the end of the show speeds up way too quickly in the last 2 episodes.
Yeah,
and I'm like, this could have been, if there was one more episode that with a plot to back it up, I think the season would have been fantastic.
Yeah, I had a great time with it. I agree with you. Yeah, like the ending felt a little abrupt, right? And especially the way they paced it out, just of like the court case seemed like it was going to happen in the penultimate episode, and then no, it dragged over to the last one. It's like, oh, okay, whatever. But you know, when it ended, I was watching it with Jen and Lucy, and they were both like, I didn't like it. And I was like, I just was happy to be back in this world. Like, you know what I mean? I loved the first season of Little Big Planet, Little Big Lies. And so to get to come back, like when I didn't expect to come back and get more time with these people and see how the relationships changed and see what everybody goes through, right? Like the whole like bankruptcy stuff was really, really fun. Like there were so many different things. I thought they gave everybody.
Laura Dern, dude.
They give everybody more to do, and Laura Dern just fucking crushes it. That's the thing. Everybody crushes in this thing, right? Adam Scott and Reese Witherspoon, even, right? Like I thought they were.
Adam Scott, man.
Fucking
How
great.
is he that good? Because you look at him, he's just a goofy guy, but like the way that he acts with just his eyes in this season, because he gets wronged, really wronged. And him dealing with it throughout this whole season, the things presented in front of him and like the challenges and like kind of the temptations put in front of him, he does such a good job acting that you're rooting for him, you know, and you're scared for him when situations are going on where you're like, no, don't do it. That's good. That's a good show when you're engrossed in the characters and care about their well-being.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
This show is brought to you by our sponsors, Postmates and Liquid IV, but more about that later. Now it is time for the news.
News.
I never know who's gonna do it. Whether it's
Barrett jumped on it, but then I
Yeah.
tagged it, and I'd say Barrett took it to 90%. I took it to 100.
sure.
Bear brought the chocolate, Nick brought the peanut butter.
I brought the sea salt
Our
and the
first
peanut butter.
news story: Big Mouth renewed at Netflix. Netflix usually isn't one to renew shows for multiple seasons, but they did for Big Mouth, which has been renewed for 3 seasons.
3 season
3
renewal.
seasons, yeah, which
3
is not
seasons is-
something Netflix
3
normally
seasons
does.
is always like the okay, is this it? Are we done with Netflix? Because like they're notorious for,
Well, I know,
for
but I
canceling
think
after
that
like
they're
2 or
on
3,
season
right?
2 right now.
Yeah, no, the 3rd
so
season.
they're going.
They're renewing 3 more.
Yeah.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I misheard that. That's huge.
Yeah, that's a big deal, and I hope
That's
they
awesome.
start doing this more often. On
Desperate
content.
times, man.
Yeah, that's
Like you've seen it
Yeah,
with
you're making a
Netflix.
lot of sense.
They're rebranding things in I think a very smart way, but like they're doing the Netflix comedy, Netflix films, Netflix animation, and I think they're gonna like keep doubling down, because when you look at Disney Plus and after D23 next month, like
So
they're
exciting.
gonna
Can't
really
wait.
D23 is about to be the greatest commercial for Disney Plus of all time, where they're just
I
gonna,
hope so.
It's gonna like they're gonna come out, they're gonna show it off, they're gonna like give all the trailers and examples for all the things that are day 1, month 2, month 5, whatever it is. But like even just looking at the app when you load it up and there's the big featured thing and then the 5 slot like shelf spots that are Pixar, MCU, Disney,
So cool.
Star Wars, ESPN, or whatever the fuck it is, National Geographic. Like Netflix is gonna have to do that, and they're gonna have to create buckets that are enticing, that should prove to people like, look, here's why you need to come to us for this unique content, especially with a lot of their original shows like winding down. Like Orange is the New Black is over now. Right?
Yeah, but I feel like that's none of us
still-
watch it anymore, and like it's.
None of us do, but people still do.
No, I know, but I'm just saying, like, I'm sure that they've lost audience, like people on that, like where it's not as many people are motivated to like sign up for it or keep their
Subscriptions
subscription.
going.
Yeah,
I mean, I think more people are watching that than a lot of the newer stuff they're putting out there. So it's like,
Yeah, that's the thing. When you get something as big as the Orange is New Black, and you lose somebody like me that enjoyed it up until the riot season, where I was just like, I just don't even care anymore, and I fell away. Sure, I fell away, but I think you kept the majority of viewers, right? And again, now we're not since we're not in it, we're not talking about it. It seems smaller, but I bet they're still seeing numbers on it.
no, yeah, I'm sure that.
And I do
want
want to go back now, and I plan on doing some kind of jump of like turning it on one night and jumping to the end and just seeing how it all ends.
Just see how it ends.
Yeah.
So yeah, good news for Big Mouth. I know Cool Greg always recommends the show, and I am interested in it.
He just said,
Yeah.
"Shut your big
So
mouth."
you haven't watched it at all?
No, I haven't watched it all. Have you watched it?
No, that was one of the shows that a lot of people when we used to do more shows.
I've heard
you
a lot
gotta
of good
watch
stuff.
this.
It's
The trailer alone it looks hilarious.
yeah, it's cool. Netflix is doing this. The next show that's being renewed, The Expanse season 5, ordered by Amazon.
Congrats,
Season
Kevin.
4 hasn't even come out yet, and they're already saying we're getting season 5. I'm really stoked. I'm a big fan of Expanse. I keep pushing it on everyone. It's really good. Highly recommend. I don't know if you like it,
I won't.
but it's good. I mean,
won't.
it is some good drama. Great sci-fi. Anyways,
Does
moving
it need
on.
5 seasons though? Do you think?
Yes.
Okay.
I want as much as possible in this world. There's just a lot that they like build on and develop, and like it starts very quick too, where it's like they just throw you into this like already built world, and like they're throwing terms out, and it's cool to try to figure out what everything means. And once you know, it's like it just flows so well.
Yeah.
Next news story: Chapter 2 runtime announced. 2
Jesus
hours and
Christ.
45 minutes. But if that's not enough, it looks like there's going to be a 4-hour cut
Jesus.
coming to Blu-ray.
That's outrageous.
Yeah. I'm excited. 2 hours and 45 minutes seems like a lot right now because I'm tired. But when it's when it's that week and we're ready to watch it, I'm so in.
I don't know, man.
3 hours of it,
I don't know
dude?
that
Nah,
I need
man.
that.
Oh, I want it.
The chapter 1 I enjoyed a lot, but it did not need to be longer. That's for damn sure. So like, I just don't know
Bear,
what
can
they're
you
I'm
gonna
looking it up.
Thank you.
add with this one. Because like even with the miniseries, like that, we're now with these 2 movies going to be
Way over it. Way
Yeah.
over. The miniseries, I want to say, it was like 3 hours total.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think they spaced it out enough, though, right? Where I remember the first one was long as well, but I enjoyed it. And I don't remember ever having a moment where I was like, "This is fucking really taking a long time." And granted, I like horror movies, so whatever. 240 doesn't sound outrageous for me.
No,
I'm
yeah,
ready to
it's
sit
I
down.
feel like-
240 is a lot. Like think
I'm
about
aware
like,
it's a long time.
what
Yeah,
that
you know.
compares to movie.
The first one is 2 hours and 15 minutes.
Yeah, so an extra 30 minutes. It's gonna
That's a
breeze
lot,
by.
man.
Yeah. But I love these movies so much, and Stephen King has built like this universe that we don't have much of, and it'd be interesting to see if they do like more little ties to like the book where they have the whole universe. Like they explain it a little bit more in the book where he's like a monster from another dimension. So
Sure.
and like.
sounds great.
I think it'd be cool if they could do that. And also explain how they fought him in the thing. Like, as kids, I never understood what the hell they were doing when they all held hands, but like the ritual of Chud is what that's called.
Power
Duh.
friendship.
Yeah.
See, to me, this is
Touch your
great.
pud, do the ritual of chess.
Jesus
Christ,
Yeah.
why?
Everyone's got a pud. We got Chad. This is great for me.
Put your pud in my mouth.
Because if it's over 2 hours and like if it hits the 2 hour 30 mark, I'm gonna have to pee during this. So all of
Nick, you
the worry
pee after 45 minutes.
but all of the worry of trying to hold it, it's just not. It's not tenable.
Just pee in
I
the
have
cup.
to just go. You've told me multiple times that that's smelly.
Pee pee cup.
Anyway, I'm excited for this.
I think it's cool. I really liked the first
Yeah.
edit, so I don't mind that it's 2 hours 45 minutes. But again, this might be
2
one of the,
hours and 45 minutes is almost endgame.
again. That's what I'm telling you right now.
it-
You get up,
And
you
did
get
you
up,
feel it
you take a
with
break, you
Endgame?
go stretch your
No,
legs,
but
you
that
go to the
was
bathroom.
Endgame. That's MCU. This is it. This is a horror movie.
Stephen King, man.
Yeah.
I want to be like, I want to have this long experience. I'm
Alright.
excited for it. And will I watch, if there is a 4-hour cut afterwards, will I watch that? Hell yeah, I will. I'll make a day of it. Very exciting stuff.
Be excited.
So, some interesting news that I don't normally go into is this next story, theme parks.
Hell yeah.
Universal Studio announces new Epic Universe theme park coming to Florida. Right next
Epic
to
Universe.
Epic Universe.
It's
that's
supposed to
right.
replace the Dark Universe.
I was going to say, what is the Epic Universe?
Bear, can
Epic
you pull up the
Universe
story?
is them being like, hey, we have a bunch of different licenses to properties and doesn't make any sense together. Let's just put a name.
Perfect,
And fucking
okay.
it
Yeah.
that way. Like,
But I feel like that's a good name to put together. So can you right-click on the image and open a new tab? There you go. And let's just look at that. So this is the image that they put out. There's all kinds of speculation of what things are going to be.
so on the left here,
Looks like a Vegas party pool.
on the left we have Nintendo Land.
Yeah.
So it's that whole bit there.
Oh.
Yeah, yeah.
To up The purple looking thing, that is the original monsters. So Dracula, Mummy, like the
Classic
Dark
monsters.
Universe, but it's
Nice.
not Dark Universe.
Yeah.
It's like OG shit.
But it's pretty much Dark Universe.
But it won't be those characters though.
Yeah.
Well, those
Like
characters
they were
never went
saying.
anywhere.
yeah, it'll be the dumb old ones.
And then we got a How to Train Your Dragon area.
On the bottom right.
Favorite, my
Which
favorite.
I'm really
Really?
excited because Burke is awesome looking and like, have I always wanted to be there? I have.
Then
Top right, we've got the Fantastic.
Fantastic Beast.
Yeah,
area.
right there. Fantastic Beast area. That's it.
And then the roller coaster that's like down bottom rightish as well. I don't know what the hell that is.
So someone was saying that it could be dueling wizards or dueling dragons.
Dragons.
Because it looks like it's two separate, like there's two colors there on the bottom, the
yeah.
blue and the orange. And then, so it'd be cool if you're supposed to be on a dragon and you're like fighting someone else.
That's my favorite. I forget what the roller coaster is called back at Cedar Point, but there's a Cedar Point roller coaster where it's like you're racing like another.
Yeah,
Screaming
yeah,
Eagles.
yeah.
Screaming Eagles.
No,
it's not-
definitely
it's
not
not.
called that.
Danger Zone.
Probably. I'll just say yes. Just
I
say-
hope that it's dragons versus Harry Potter.
No, it's gonna be crazy.
I mean,
It's
Harry
like
Potter
that.
has dragons.
But I want
Yeah.
the How to Train Your Dragon,
go.
the dumb shit looking one. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
like let's
Toothless.
get
Stupid.
let's get
Toothless.
It's
not
Toothless
dumb looking,
racing
he's
Norwegian Ridgeback, man. That'd be fun.
There you go.
Ooh,
That'd be
there it
great.
is.
That'd be
There it
great.
is. There it is.
I like theme
Anyways.
parks. That's cool.
This is the first
Never been to
theme park
Universal.
being built in
It's cool.
Florida from the ground up since 1999. So it's gonna be interesting to have like a fully modern theme park built from the ground up because we haven't seen that in a really long time in this scale.
Yeah, it's you can take a little transit thing from Universal Studios to get there. It's gonna be a little far.
P. Soyden in the chat. I'm sorry if I didn't say your name correctly. The roller coaster I'm thinking about is called the Gemini.
Gemini.
Oh,
Based on the Gemini Man movie with Will Smith.
Yeah.
that's right. I like it. I know I shouldn't, but there's something about it that I'm just
I just
into.
like seeing
It's such a
young Will
bad
Smith.
Yeah.
trailer, but it
Oh.
seems like an
Ah.
interesting
The song?
movie. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm into it.
All right, well, now it's time for some ads. All right, since our next topic will eventually go into spoilers, I'm going to do the...
Spoilers.
Thank you for that.
No problem.
I'm going to do what we normally do at the end of the show, which is out now on streaming platforms.
Oh, no, on streaming platforms.
There's a lot of stuff out there. I recommend you guys go and check out whatever is local to your region and what's been released. Let me know what like great find you have on Twitter at Kinda Funny Kevin. I'm gonna pick one from each one. Netflix, Jackie Brown's there. The only Quentin Tarantino movie I haven't seen.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
You don't need to watch
it's
it.
on my list
It's
to watch.
fine.
I want to do that this
I
weekend.
agree with Barrett. It's fine. It's not one of the
No,
best.
no,
but
I've heard
knock
that
it
too,
off,
but
knock
it's
it
the
off.
only one I haven't watched, so
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
in.
But fun connection with that one. You got to watch that, and then you got to watch Out of Sight because Michael Keaton's character is the same in both.
Oh, really?
He was in Out of Sight. Maybe it's the sequel to Out of Sight. But yeah, there's that character, the FBI character, is in both of those for some reason.
KCU.
That's
That's
interesting.
cool.
I
I
like
think
that. On Hulu, we've got Robin Hood, Men in Tights.
Hell yeah.
It's very enjoyable.
And also Big
Chat, did I
Fish.
get that
Hell
right?
yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know
Big
if I got
Fish
that
is
right.
also on there. And on Amazon Prime, they've added 300, a movie I enjoy very much. Very much.
Never seen it.
Really?
Yeah.
It's just like the comic book. If you read the comic book, you're...
Didn't read the comic.
Oh.
We watched the trailer like 4 times. This
Yeah,
weekend.
if you watch the trailer 4 times in a row, you've seen the movie.
Okay.
I blew
This
Tim's
is
mind.
Sparta!
I blew Tim's mind though because he was like, "Well, then we'll fight in the shade." And I was like, "Do you know who said that line?" And he was like, "No." And I was like, "Michael Fassbender." And he was like, "Our arrows will blot out the sun.
Didn't realize it.
Then we'll fight in the shade." Fassbender.
He's Magneto.
He's in that movie?
Yeah. A lot of people are in that movie that you
Yeah.
wouldn't. Yeah, you
A
didn't know.
lot of good-looking, handsome jets. You know what I mean?
Jacked.
Woo, jacked.
Speedos.
All right, out in movie
Jacked
theaters near you,
Speedos.
we've got Fast and Furious presents Hobbs and Shaw.
Hell yeah, dude.
Oh, you
Watch
know
it
we're all
tonight.
checking that out tonight.
This is the last time we're ever going to be on this show in a pre-Hobbs and Shaw world.
It's very exciting.
I don't think much is going to change. I'll be honest with you. I think we're
I
just
don't
going to
know,
have
man.
another fun movie to look forward to about 2 years from now.
Also, a movie called The
1 year.
Nightingale that looks really creepy. So you might want to
Fast
check that
9,
out.
2020.
So for last week's Your Topic, I asked you to come and tell me what you think about Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. For next week on the bronze tier at patreon.com/kindafunny, I want you to go and tell me what you thought about Hobbs and Shaw and whether or not you are excited for more of these offshoot movies.
Tim, what's the next offshoot? So we're doing Hobbs and Shaw.
It's unannounced.
But they're filming the female one, right?
No.
No? What
They're
are they
filming 9.
They're filming 9 right
9,
now.
yeah.
Okay.
And the rumor is there's a female led.
I see.
Fast and the Furious.
Because Ruby Rose is in the female, or the 9.
Rumored.
Rumored.
Really?
Nothing is
I
confirmed.
thought her Instagram was
Nothing
making it
is
pretty clear.
confirmed.
Okay,
Ruby
whatever.
Rose?
Batwoman,
I don't
yeah.
follow her, so
Okay.
maybe. They're shooting
I
9
haven't seen
now.
any
so
stories. Yeah.
I keep seeing Vin Diesel putting up Instagram
She
posts
was-
with women, and I'm like, oh, they're filming the women.
He's
She was
so
in Triple
creepy.
X.
Great.
her and
That
him.
doesn't fucking help
She
me at
was
all
in
right now.
the third Triple X.
Her
She was
and
also
Vin
in John
Diesel
Wick,
were
right?
in Triple X.
So what does that
Together,
mean? Then
yeah.
you think you're saying
maybe?
are you breaking the news?
Maybe
that
you
that's
don't
rumor
follow Vin
that right
Diesel.
now they're making a triple X 3, 4, 5 or whatever it is?
No,
No,
like Vin
no,
Diesel's a
last one
fucking
didn't do
creep and weirdo on Instagram.
Whoa!
Yeah, you
This
gotta
is well
follow Vin
That
Diesel.
ain't like
dude.
Street Sharks.
All right,
he
all
goes like
right.
this.
Let's stop offending people.
Thank
that
you.
we like their work.
Spider-Man
I gotta
Day,
say,
everyone.
after seeing Vin Diesel's Instagram, he's one of the best actors I've ever seen. If that's what he's like normally,
He's weird
and
as fuck.
and the
He's
character,
just high out of his fucking mind.
And he'll always just post things. He's just like Happy
This is my
Wednesday to Michelle
family.
Rodriguez.
Yeah.
And picture him and Michelle.
Yeah.
Michelle's like, it's just a Wednesday.
they're friends.
No, but,
dude.
but when it's the worst is when they do video.
Yeah.
Where he just drags her into the video. And she's like, Vin,
Vin,
come on,
stop.
man. It's like when your parents used
No,
to like,
she
here,
also-
talk to your uncle, and you're like, I don't want.
Next, you're gonna tell me this photo of Vin Diesel biting Ruby Rose's ear from behind is weird. You guys are crazy.
Does it say anything about Fast?
I'm working on it.
All right.
That was a birthday thing. I thought maybe that's why.
That's what I was saying.
I know.
You wouldn't let me get there.
Oh no, it's because you want to spin your fucking wheels telling me about goddamn Triple X. I don't care.
All right,
I
I'm
just feel
gonna
like the
move
rolling ball in
on
those.
to last week's topic where I asked the best friends how they felt about Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Andrew Feisner says, I think I set my expectations too high for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. While I did enjoy it overall, I don't like it as much as Inglourious Bastards. At least Brad Pitt is still a badass.
True.
Go see it when you have a chance. And I agree with that. I think I may have set my expectation a little high, but it was overall a movie I really, really liked. Mitch Krasnen says, while it isn't my favorite Tarantino movie, I really dug Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Leo and Brad being cool the entirety of the movie was one of the best parts. I also appreciated that there was still elements of Western movies in it, keeping true to some of my favorite Tarantino films. I agree with that. The Western stuff was good. I also threw in tell me what you think about The Boys. So Matt Edwards responded, I love The Boys. Great story, great casting, an awesome take on the superhero genre. My favorite Carl Urban performance / character, which says a lot. Can't wait for season 2. So many threads to still explore. And our last one is Fendi. The Boys is fucking amazing, and I still have the second half to watch. I love how it's basically a parody on all the shitty CW shows with an actual good story. Watching Once Upon a Time in Hollywood over the weekend, but tonight it's all about family. Yeah, it is. All right, boys. Let's talk about The Boys. The Boys. I'm real excited to start.
Spoiler free.
Spoiler free.
Until we say it's spoiler filled.
And then Barrett will change the name, and we'll have time codes on
fantastic.
YouTube.
We've all finished season 1 of The
Yeah,
Boys.
we want to go around. Should we
All
go around
8
the table and give
episodes.
quick impressions?
Yeah, sure.
what'd you
Greg,
think,
let's start
Greg?
with you.
I had a great time. Yeah, I was in the whole way. I thought it was a great adaptation of the comic, right? We did comic for Greg's comic book club over on patreon.com/kindoffunny. We just did in the most recent one, The Boys Volume 1. And so picking that back up after 15 years of not reading it, I was like, whoa, this is certainly an early 2000 comic book. And it's Garth Ennis.
Edgy.
Edgy, and we're fucking, and we're cursing, and we're using slur. It's like, okay, cool. I was reading it again. I was like, holy shit, how are they going to do this on TV, let alone Amazon, right? And I thought the choices they made of what they took and what they dropped made a lot of sense. I thought this...
It feels like it diverges pretty vastly.
Oh, pretty, yeah. I mean,
Like,
by the end of
but
episode 1, you're kind of off into, this is a different
Totally different thing,
story.
right?
Yeah. And so that was great because it kept me on my toes, obviously, and it still gave me pangs of what I wanted from those characters. I thought it was a much more grounded, real version of what the comic was. The comic is obviously crazy and doesn't make any sense. So how that happened, and see them have to deal with those same issues, how they creatively got around things in the Boys, the TV series. I had a great time.
Yeah. Nick?
I liked it a lot. I thought there were moments where it dragged a bit and started to lose me. There's a lot of characters in this and a lot of side stories that I was like. I started off very, very interested in Huey's arc and then and Starlight, and by the end of it, I was like, I don't really. I'm much more fascinated by what's happening with the overarching plot and with Homelander and all that stuff like that I think is not. It sounds like a criticism of the show. It's actually not a criticism. It's actually cool because at first you start and you think the Homelander character is this sort of like what's underneath that surface, and then when you start scratching that, you're like, oh my god,
terrifying. It's terrifying.
But it's really fascinating and it's really cool. And one of the things I like about the show is they somehow managed to make it feel really contemporary and current with a lot of the things that like what's his name? The Deep is like the Deep does and is going through, and then the subsequent consequences of that action. Starlight's journey I thought was really cool, especially relevant now. But I like that it takes a very hard look at what these people would be like if they had superpowers in this world, and it's very gray area to some degree, and some degrees it's black and white and it's fucked up, and I think it's really, really cool, and it answers the question for me of like, you know, the old fantasy, or like I'm sure people have written comic books about this, but what would happen if Superman was kind of a bad guy? How would we deal with that? Like how could you possibly deal with something where no human weapon can kill this thing? And I think they did. I think they took the show in a place where I think towards episode 6, I was like, I'm starting to lose a little interest in this. And then by 7, I'm like, oh, okay, we're back in this. And now I want to see what season 2 does. Yeah.
Tim Tam, your thoughts?
I really liked it. It's one of those rare times where there's 8 episodes. They're each an hour, like a full hour, not 40-minute with ads type stuff, like proper hours. That's 8 hours of content. And I feel like they filled it well. Like I was interested in the entire way through. I don't think that there's any parts that dragged too much. Like I was always like, all right, we're on to the next thing. I loved the cast of characters and how big it is, but each character you kind of feel for, and the characters they don't get into that much, like Black Noir or whatever. They don't need to.
But that's perfect.
They do a good job of
sits
giving.
down and plays the piano.
So great. It's like everybody has enough moments. But I do think that there's a lot of elements of this that are better than the whole. Like I like plot points I like a lot. An example would be I like Huey, I like Starlight, I like them together. I didn't like all those things being in the same show. Like there's something where it's like it kind of just feels like disjointed at times, and it's like, oh, I believe in them as a couple, but I don't believe in how they got together as a couple because that's related to this other story, and it kind of all felt a little too convenient. That's the word I guess I'm looking for. And I was telling you before this, but like I watched this directly after Big Little Lies. And I feel like watching both of them made me realize what I was missing in the other one. And I feel like this really is missing tight writing of characters. And
it is a little loose.
And I feel like when it comes to the plot of where they're going, it's very formulaic and by the numbers, and you're going to get to the next thing, and you know when when any reveal is coming. You don't know what the reveal is, but you always know it's right around the corner. I think that you were saying that it's not necessarily a criticism. What I'm about to say is the same way. I feel like this story in 2000 would have been very cool and unique and like, whoa, but we're so just overrun with superhero stories now that this is just. There's nothing interesting about this as a concept. It's kind of just like, oh, it's another superhero movie. And especially when we've seen as many movies in cinematic universes as we have, pretty much any angle of superheroes has been dealt with well. So this is kind of just
think so? You think that the fact that these guys are the good guys with the bad guys,
I think they did it better in Watchmen. Like,
that's
the Watchmen movie, you see that and you go, there's a lot. Like, I think the strength of this, and I'm going to disagree with one thing you said. You said it's not, I forgot how you phrased it. I think what you meant is there's nothing unique about it, because there's a lot of interesting stuff about this. But uniqueness, as far as that's concerned, like, it's not the first time we've seen a character who is overpowered do bad things for good intent, or bad things for like a murky intent, you know what I mean? Like in Watchmen, Ozymandias, you're like, okay, that's a character that you start off hating, and then you at the end you go, I kind of see why he's doing what he's doing. It kind of makes sense. It's wrong, but I get why he's doing it. And I think you end up almost there here. I don't want to get into spoiler territory.
I feel, before we could get into spoilers, I just want to say, like, I kind of disagree with you guys, where I think that this is a unique thing where they're really being like commercializing stuff is the problem, and like all these people, they're not doing bad things for good reasons, which what Ozymandias was doing.
That's true.
They're doing bad things to keep their brand and
their stock
all of their stuff going. Yeah. Exactly. So
but I think, what I like about that is that's a basic, like, they were able to sort of tie basic human greed and basic human emotions into these characters. And I think that, like, that's where storytelling, to me, with comic book characters is at its best. Is where you go, yeah, it's a human that has superpowers, not a superpowered human. Does that make sense? Like these people are normal people that just have these extraordinary abilities, and of course they're going to fall prey to the basic human needs of like greed and lust and sex and passion. And like I think A Train's story is one of those where you get, it starts off very generic, and by the end of it you're like, oh okay, like I get why he has done what he's done. It's unforgivable and excusable, but I get that he's got this pressure on him to be the fastest man on the planet. And what happens when there's someone nipping at your heels, a young buck nipping at your heels? You know, it's crazy.
Yeah,
right?
I just feel like they do such a good job developing the characters, in where we meet Starlight and we kind of see where the path can go poorly for her and she can become like them, or where she can choose to fight back. And then they have like opposing characters like Queen Maeve, where it's like, oh, you made a different choice, and now you're like regretting it and paying the consequences of that choice. And I think that's what the show does so well, seeing like how these characters, and when you have those bad like reasons to do well or to make yourself look like you're doing well, that's why all these guys have become the monsters that they are. Yeah.
So what I'm saying
I guess
is,
real quick, the reference to Ozymandias that's true. They're two different.
But I mean, I feel like that difference is so important that where it's like, this is all about.
Sorry.
So yeah, my bad. But this is all about like commercialism is the problem. Like a company being the backbone of everything that is only concerned about its stock prices going up. That's the issue here.
But I love the comparison though with them, and like they make direct comparisons to Lockheed Martin and Boeing,
right?
Where these other weapons manufacturers, and you literally look at these heroes and they're marketing them like weapons. They're trying to weaponize them and have them be the new defense weapons for like the next generation.
Which makes so much sense.
Which makes sense because nothing can kill them.
I'm sorry, Tim.
What I'm saying is like it sounds like a criticism. I actually don't think it is, because I feel like in the 2000s this would have been a very unique take. It's not a unique take anymore, but it's still good. So I needed to get to that point.
Got it. Sorry.
It's still good because I think they told a good story with this. And so it's like, even though it's not unique, it didn't need that kind of push to make it good. It just, the story is good. The characters are good and well developed, and it's interesting and fun. And I think the most impressive thing is there's no moment in the show where I'm concerned about how the CG looks. It's I feel like they chose a good art style and a good, like,
dude, the laser eye shit is terrifying.
What? Terrifying. I thought you were saying it was terrible.
But my thing is, like,
when his eyes start glowing, like
it's like, oh shit.
But I buy into it where it's like, obviously this isn't like blockbuster motion picture quality CG, but it doesn't need to be.
It looks good.
They choose to do action scenes at the right points to like make you feel like you've earned them, and the choreography is really good. And like even the opening scenes of the show where Maeve's standing there and the truck hits her that they've shown in all the damn trailers, it's like, I buy it.
That
I'm
looks
like, all right,
cool.
cool. This is the level that we're going to get
and it's
visually.
just good enough.
It's just
That's
good
all it
enough,
needs to
and they
be.
stick to that.
Just
and they
good
don't
enough.
try to overachieve things.
But the show's also not, and this is why I love it. It's not like we referenced a CW show earlier, or someone maybe in the chat was doing it. But it's not about, like, CW shows rely too much on those big action set pieces to the point where they feel so redundant after like the third episode of a season. The action really doesn't matter in this. It's kind of secondary to the moral dilemmas and the things that the characters are actually going through. That, like, I think there aren't that many big action set pieces in the last 3 episodes. There's like one shootout, and then there's the standoff.
Yeah, the shootout is really good.
It's all right,
well,
but
I'm talking about
again,
the one in the Middle East.
But see, even that was like,
Okay.
but see, even that stuff is less about the action and more about like people watching it and going, oh fuck, the ramifications of what's happening here is really cool. And that to me is good storytelling.
Yeah.
I think that the show's greatest disservice is its title, where I think The Boys is going to hold it back because it's not clear what it is. And even after watching it, it's still a little unclear about who are the boys. I get it. I know who they are now, but it's like,
do you?
I mean, I guess that's
Really?
true. I don't know.
Because
but
my
like,
wife was like, wait a minute. Like by the 6th episode, she was like, who are the boys? And I'm like, well, I think it's the team they're forming, but I'm not quite sure.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure it is.
Carl Urban's character says the boys
Makes reference
like,
to it
3 or 4 times,
yeah.
and then at the very end when he talks to that one person, like they say it again too. But I
But you
hear
don't get that that's sort of like
It's-
a team name
Of course
until
not.
late.
I know,
deep
and
into
that's the thing
thing
of like taking this off of the comic book, where the comic book starts in a very different place, and it's
doesn't
a very
it start
different
with
thing.
the team already formed?
Totally. Yeah. Well, almost formed.
let's just jump into spoilers here.
Yeah.
Right.
spoilers. We're starting spoilers now.
Barrett put the spoiler hat on. Good job, Barrett.
But yeah, the
updating
comics.
title.
What?
Sorry, updating the Twitch
No problem.
sub.
Take your time.
Comic starts the exact same way of Robin getting killed in front of Huey, Butcher coming to get Huey on the team. But yeah, he's bringing him into. He's already got government sign.
Yeah, he's already a CIA guy, right?
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, the government's funding this and giving them the Flatiron Building, like they make reference to when he gives them that crumpled up paper.
Yeah,
or
yeah,
whatever.
One of the things you get I think that is clear is that like The Boys was a thing. Then the directors,
the Mallory stuff happened. With their
grandkids were
kids.
murdered,
Yeah.
and that's where it fell apart. And everyone, but because he was brought in the same way that Huey was, he still has the vendetta, and he can't let go of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just think that it's a weird name. Like I feel like this show is too good to be held back by things where people are gonna be like me trying to pitch Gia on it. It's that it was difficult. Then she started watching it and she was fucking in.
Same thing for Jen. I don't 100% agree with you still about the uniqueness that this isn't unique. Because I think even if we point to Watchmen, am I missing a bunch of other movies and TV shows that have done this? Of the anti-heroes are. Everybody believes in them, and I mean, I know we've seen it in comics for sure.
But I mean, I think that's the thing is like at this point, like we've seen it with. I'm sure that they've dealt with this in some of the CW shows at some point. Like it just superhero stories are just normal stories. It's a genre to itself. That there's genres within the genre.
Because like introducing it to Jen, I did the thing where I didn't tell her anything, didn't even think about it, and then we start, and when Robin gets run through. And it's just fucking blood. Jen's like, holy shit. And I was like, sorry, this isn't like what this isn't MCU. She's like, no, I'm digging it. And like, we were into it.
I did the exact same thing with Paula, where it's like, oh yeah, because I had already watched, when we started watching it, I watched the like first 3 episodes on my own. And then she came home and like, then I started episode 1 right there.
Yeah.
And it was the same thing where it's like, oh, I probably should have given her a heads up. So... But it worked out. I think that
it totally worked out.
And I think keeping the names The Boys is important because when you Google The Boys comic, like everything about it is like, oh, this comic is crazy. It's super insane. It goes really far, and I think that like
I don't think anybody's watching this show based on the comic. More people are watching it because of Amazon promoting it. Than
and I think I saw tons of people on my feed from our industry and friends or whatever watching it. Sight unseen. And I remember when I tweeted about something related to the comics, they're like, this is a comic book? And I've seen tons of people coming in like, hey, this Boys thing is awesome, huh? Like it caught a lot of people off guard, I think, because again, I think it's subverting expectations in terms of what you get from a superhero show.
Right.
And I think it also falls into what we're talking about, right? Of it being a show that looks better than you'd expect it to, right? The CG actually looks good. It's got something there.
I think it's interesting because I think about it. I'm like, I think a lot of the elements of the show needed to be there because this season primarily is just setting up the group and all the characters, and then they do a really good job of that. At first, I was like, oh great, we got this weird Frenchie guy, and he's gonna be around. By the end of the season, I was like, I love this guy.
Frenchie's the best.
I think they do a really good job of that. I'm still at a point with a lot of these shows where I don't know that. Like if this show hadn't been all 8 episodes accessible to me at first, I don't know that I would have made it all the way through all 8 episodes. Yeah. If I had to watch this appointment viewing week by week, I don't know that I would because there's some moments where I'm like, I don't necessarily need this much of this storyline.
That's so interesting.
And then I got last night, I was like, I hit episode 6. I'm like, how many more episodes are left? And I was so delighted that there were only 8. Because if there had been 10, I don't think it would have been as strong. So I don't know. Like I almost want this to be 6 episodes. Like you know what I mean?
Oh,
8 was fine, but I think there's always like a solid hour in there that I'm like, I just don't need this shit. Like I didn't need all the Frenchie stuff with Kimiko. It was cool, but we didn't really pay off ever.
I felt like the moment where he's trying to convince her in like the Radio Shack or like the store. To like come with him and we get a little bit more backstory of who he is and we tie that together what he said earlier. I feel like that adds depth to the character.
But I just didn't need that much backstory.
I'm with you.
I need to see her be like I get that they're setting her character up and it backs up the overarching thing of like what Homelander was doing, but I was like,
I thought the payoff of her was amazing. Like I love the idea of like she's a terrorist that they're making, and oh wait, it's not actually her, it's someone else. Like I thought that was great, but I agree that there was one episode of her where you're like, what is going on that they didn't need. They could have just cut out.
I feel like we could have kept that for season 2.
I just feel like that developed Frenchie and her's relationship because it is odd that Frenchie like immediately falls in love with her and is like, we're similar. It's weird as fuck, but like because they show us so much of it, I buy it. Especially once we cut to them cooking in the background and how they're like together, kind of.
I thought that was whatever, and then the other character,
that other woman that he was with.
Oh, she's just. He
made a reference to that too. That he's got like a million different women.
Yeah,
and I think that's like the fact that he can connect with this woman of being pulled aside and put in a cage, right, and being like tortured when he shows his stuff.
And
like
reminding him of his childhood and like what he had to go through.
But I'm with you that I never thought Karen's character got developed all that much. You know what I mean? Like I thought she was like, especially her in
Karen?
the comic being the actress's name is Karen.
Oh,
I can't remember
the
her.
female, the
Kamiko.
female.
Kamiko.
Oh,
Yeah. Her character in the comic, right, is set up way differently and introduced way differently.
Yeah.
And like, oh, okay, cool. I understand what this is better. Whereas I thought for her, it was a weird, you're the freak of the week from Smallville kind of thing that keeps hanging out. But even with the flashbacks and like some stuff, it was like, by the end of this season, I didn't have enough on her that I thought justified as much as I saw of her in terms of her backstory.
Yeah, there was that, and then the Mother's Milk, the other character, the other
Yeah,
guy. I
I
was
love
like,
Mother's Milk.
I love him. I think he's great. I
Why
don't
is
need to see him with his wife and his kid arguing. I get that he's got a lot at stake. I think the more important, the more fun thing for me is the relationship between him and Butcher. And then when they start bringing his character in, and then Simon Pegg's character, and everyone's got to be set. I'm like, I don't like any of this stuff. I don't like. Why are we still here? Why can't we get
already
to the
have
action?
stakes.
Exactly, the
You know,
stakes. I get it.
stop adding stakes.
You know what the stake is? Is there's a guy flying above us that can see through buildings who will find us. He will find us, and he will melt our fucking eyes off. That's the stake. Like, I get it. I don't care that he's going to kill your daughter. It's scary that he's going to kill you.
I still thought it was super interesting that when it's revealed that Mother's Milk has a daughter, it's like, whoa, it's crazy that he's been keeping this from the group where he's not fully in the group, you know, because I feel like he's still trying to keep his world totally separate, keep them safe because of the consequences of like
Also,
what has
shout out
happened
to-
before.
Well, I'm just saying, Laz Alonso plays Mother's Milk, and of course he's in the family. He played Phoenix in Fast and Furious.
Oh yeah,
He's in Avatar too.
There you
There.
go.
Well, who cares about it?
Exactly.
It's not the number one anymore.
Terrible
Who gives a
name,
shit?
though. Mother's
You're
Milk.
the first or your
Yeah, I
last.
don't like
one.
What an awful name.
That's
Milk
great.
Mommy.
Milk
No, see
Mommy.
that's why I don't like it.
These are minor criticisms,
Yeah.
by the way. Like, these are just things that I felt
Yeah.
that made the show drag a little bit. Like, I really started off liking Jack Quaid's character, Huey, and by the end of it, I was like, I think what happened was, that story was interesting. Starlight's story was interesting, but it just started being so less interesting than what was happening with Elizabeth Shue's character in Homelander that I was like, oh my God, what the fuck? Like, by episode 7 tears it open and you're like, oh, this is awesome. This is a cool concept.
Yeah.
And you actually start feeling for Homelander. And that to me is...
Do you though?
You do. Because when you see that little bait with a blanket, you're like, this guy's a psychopath. And then you see the baby just in a sterile room with a blanket, you're like, oh my God,
Dude,
that's so
the
sad.
terrorist
That's
reveal
so
that they're
sad.
building supervillains and the reveal of
Captain?
superheroes are made. They're babies with that are being given this
Yeah.
drug. I'm like, this is fucking rad.
It's
Like,
cool.
This is
It's
such
real
a
cool.
cool
But
story.
also
Made
the
And
it
the fact
all
that
twist-
Homelander did it,
Yeah,
I know,
exactly.
I like that. Like
That was
I thought it was
cool.
an
And
Elizabeth Shue thing, and it
Yeah.
wasn't. It was him. That was great.
Is Melanie had like no idea that's I think
character's
it's
name?
Elizabeth Shue. Is that
I'll
the-
look it up. Yeah, it's Elizabeth Shue.
Yeah.
Nick Fury.
Anyways,
Madeline.
Madeline, that's it. Madeline
Stillwell.
not knowing and like the way she plays back and forth with the senator being like, it's funny because at that point she has no idea what's
Yeah,
going
right,
on,
yeah.
but she's like, what does it fucking matter? They have it now.
That's perfect,
And
yeah.
we're the only company that sells this.
And I think I really like that because that is, again, to talk about real world consequences. If there were superheroes and if a company had the monopoly on that,
Yeah.
they would absolutely market them to the government, and the government would absolutely use them.
Yeah.
Of course, if there was an American that was flying around who could just destroy any army on the fucking planet, of course the government would try to figure out how to use that and capitalize off of that. So that to me is cool. What I didn't see coming was that you underestimate Homelander because you think he's kind of a psychopath who's beholden to this like mother complex of Elizabeth Shue.
God, so
and,
creepy.
and then he kind of like goes, by the way, I'm indestructible. I don't
Yeah,
really
that
need
was
you. I've
awesome,
done
right?
everything I
And
want
that's
to
the thing
fucking
is
do.
like why the ending is so great,
So good.
right? Of like, first off,
But also, think about this though. Who's the bad guy in this? Because
Definitely
Butcher,
Homelander.
but Butcher has killed people, and all of his motivations he didn't even bother proving. He was wrong. He killed a bunch of people and his wife's still alive. He just took it on faith that Homelander killed her.
But here's the thing.
He didn't even bother tracking her down.
I don't think that they're trying to make Butcher be the good guy. Butcher is just a guy out for revenge. He thinks that Homelander killed his wife, or
But that's
this
again,
organization.
That's what I like about the ambiguity
Yeah.
of this. Is like you really sympathize with Butcher, but then when you find out he's wrong, you're like, wait a minute, you've just mobilized a bunch of your friends, put all their life in danger, and killed a bunch of people who were like translucent. Yeah, he's a perv, but like you
He had a
straight up
kid.
killed his
Yeah.
ass. He had a
Yeah.
kid,
Yeah.
and you did all this for revenge, and you were wrong.
But here's the
see, I won't feel that until it turns out that Homelander didn't rape her.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
it turns out that it was consensual,
They left
she
that
just
open,
like,
yeah.
exactly,
which
exactly.
is great for season 2.
And
where
if
it's
we
like,
get
we'll
it, because
more.
like right there, even I have not even interpreted anything you've interpreted right there. Right, we got to the end and I was like, Doesn't matter. He still raped her and gave her this kid. And like, I'm assuming she's been taken off the grid and put in this house, and like, you have to raise this kid, right? Like, she's loves her son, obviously, tangled up with a whole bunch of stuff similar to Big Little Lies, right? But she's still held against her will. I assume if we get to season 2 and we open season 2 and it's like, no, I'm kind of here by choice, and I could have reached out at any point.
I have a feeling
it's
gonna be that.
Then
I liked it.
That's
I liked
awesome.
it. It's
Yeah.
open like that.
Yeah,
though.
I like it too.
Both could be interesting.
That is a good point, but my read on it was consensual. She did it. She enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And then was like, oh God, I have to keep this secret because if anyone figures out that this is Homelander's kid, like there are huge ramifications to that.
Homelander will
and
know
also
and
there's
conduct
and
it.
we get that because there's well, we don't get that. That's true. There's ambiguity there. But what I like about it was there's that one line, the doctor, where he's like, "You should have been raised in a loving home with a mother and a father, and I didn't give you that, and you're my biggest failure."
Yeah.
And then you flash forward and you see this kid who looks like he's just a happy-go-lucky kid with a mother who's a loving mother.
Sure.
And it's the opposite of Homelander.
Well, that's my thing.
I
It's like
think
talking
he
to Jen
says
about it,
just
right? Like-
mother.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
which
because
is
he kind of
yeah.
sees himself as, I guess, the father figure or something.
I don't think so because he talks about how like you're just a subject.
Yeah.
you're
God,
one of my
fucked
favorite
up.
subjects. It was really fucked
Really
up,
fucked
but
up.
awesome.
Well, and I was talking to Jen afterwards about it, right? Of like where season 2 goes or where season 3, et cetera, goes. Like, I love the idea that you suddenly are presenting this opportunity that's similar to Invincible, right? Of you're going to have Homelander as the bad guy, right? And this kid is the only thing that can fight Homelander.
can kill
And
him,
he's-
yeah.
he's rightly, and that's
very Invincible,
and it'll
yeah.
be what we already have the anti-Superman raised in a government lab or whatever versus what Superman is, right? Of a kid raised in a loving home that doesn't know any better.
Really quick, 2 things that I want to grab on. One, what you just said. I know we've talked previously, and you said you were considering reading the rest of the comic book.
Oh, I was going to, yeah.
I don't think you should.
Yeah.
Because like I was watching a video, it's like, oh, here's all the information you need to know about season 1, and they go into like spoilers of the comics really further in, and I think that there's some big pops that are really cool if you don't know them.
Yeah, but I mean, I was gonna the history of the Boys. If you don't know the comic book way, right? Like Boys, when it got debuted, was DC. It was going
Right.
great. It was awesome. There's a very specific cover with a hamster on the cover. That stuff happens in there, and that's when DC is like, we will not publish this book
it's too
anymore.
far.
So they pulled it out, and then Dynamite picked it up and started redoing it, and the release schedule had gotten all fucked up. So I'd been all on board with it. And this is years and years and years and years and years and years ago. And then I fell off, and I never got back to it. And then when we started doing Comic Book Club again, I was like, oh, it's already done. I think it's on Comics. It's Unlimited, Comixology
I think so
Unlimited.
too.
So I need to just sit down and be done with it.
I really think that you'll get more out of it if you don't watch, because I think that there's certain things that they are gonna pull out of there, and if it spoils it, it's a big pop.
I don't care.
Dude, there's,
Okay, all right,
here's
do
the thing,
whatever you
there's
want.
two.
Wait. The second thing that I wanted to say, where you were talking about is Butcher like the bad guy. I think that, like I was saying earlier, they're showing 2 contrasting characters that are following the same path that diverge, and I think we get that with Huey, where Huey has the talk with the older woman that was the head of the CIA program.
Mallory.
Mallory, that's it.
Mallory.
And she's like, you gotta let go of the revenge. Like, this can't be just about revenge.
Right.
And that's where we see
Well, because we
Huey-
see what happened to her. She makes that one reference. She goes, if you keep following this line
Yeah,
and you go off for revenge, you're going to be stuck here looking at birds.
Yeah.
Like she's been basically
Right.
put in that corner.
But that's where we see another divergent point where it's like, Butcher can't do it. He's like, all I want is to kill it. And then we see Huey go to rescue his team and recover his team. And now in season 2, we can see where they go with that.
Am I crazy in thinking that Butcher let the baby die, though, at the
Oh,
end?
100%. Are you?
Just
he
nuked a
blew
baby.
a
He
bomb
just blew
up.
up a
with
baby.
Yeah, he didn't care.
That's fucked up.
Yeah, I mean,
There's
he's
2
not
scenes in
a
this-
nice character.
There's 2 scenes in this that I thought were unbelievably standout. And like I like how it started, but the scene with the airplane where they have to go see
Oh
the
my
airplane
right?
God.
was
that was a hard scene to watch.
one of the fucking coolest and like hardest and craziest things that I've ever seen in a superhero, like even anything in any genre.
Yeah.
When the second he shoots the controls, you know what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Where it's like, okay, we're done here.
Yeah.
Let's just and they're like, you're not leaving us. I'm like, no, I'm gonna save each and every one of you.
Yeah,
And it's like,
totally.
get the fuck back, or I'll laser all of you guys. You're like, holy
And then the
shit.
eyes go red, and it's
Yeah.
like, oh, he means it.
That was insane,
Yeah.
and I love that, especially for Queen Maeve, who's like that's her turning point. Where you can tell she's going to come back and have to
Right.
fight Homelander, or to some degree help with the resistance.
Afterwards, we see her talk to Starlight in a different light.
But
where-
and then the second to last scene, where he's like, just tell me the truth to Elizabeth Shue, and she's like, I'm scared of you, and he goes, thank you. That's all I wanted to hear.
Love it.
And then he
Just
slowly burns a
her
hole
I wish she
through
didn't
her
do
fucking
that.
eyes. It was
I like
awesome.
her.
I like her too.
I
I like her too.
I love her, but I love that scene where and then he turns to Carl Urban. He's like, I don't have a weakness. You thought that was it? You know, blah, blah, blah.
I don't.
yeah.
And he goes, oh, well, fuck it. Boom.
And then he wakes up and like, what? And at the end, like how diabolical he is, right? To Jen, where I was like, of course, Jen was like, why would he let him just die? I'm like, because what a better way to torture this guy, to bring him here. Like, your wife's been
just show him
alive.
his wife's
She's
been alive.
raising
Yeah.
my
It's
kid.
so wrong.
You can't hurt me.
Yeah.
What the fuck? There you go.
But
Do whatever you
also,
want.
also a DS like that was the one thing that I thought was going to be interesting. I'm like, how's Butcher going to handle the fact that if it was a consensual relationship and this is what ended up happening, like, yes, you can blame Homelander for being a dick and banging your wife, but that's it. Everything else, he didn't really do anything
But
else.
here's
other
the
than-
thing.
because Homelander doesn't know about the plane and he doesn't know about the terrorist. Butcher, excuse me.
Homelander knows about the terrorists.
He knows about the terrorists, but he doesn't know that He doesn't know that. Excuse me. Butcher doesn't know that Homelander did that. He knows that there are terrorists, but he doesn't know that Homelander
Was that
went around
not-
and made him. I don't think so.
No, yeah, that was revealed to just Mallory earlier.
So
Mallory.
no, not Mallory. The other one.
Yeah.
There's
Why would they
1,000
name him
CIA
so
agents.
close?
Mallory and Madeline?
Madeline.
No, but
That
who's
was
the other
revealed
one?
to
Who's the,
Mallory.
who's the deputy director? Has the term?
No one knows her name.
I forgot her name
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
The real standout to me was Simon Pegg's accent. And I'm not making fun of
Simon
it.
Pegg was distracting in this, I'll be honest. He's too big of a star to be the
Do you
dad.
know why he's there?
They should have randomly cast a different guy.
But do you know why Simon Pegg was
I'm sure he was
casted?
a producer on it.
No. Simon Pegg was like the Huey in the comics is based off Simon Pegg's appearance.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
I was just when he started talking, I was like, what the fuck? Like, I've never heard him talk American.
Yeah.
I
And
thought
it
he
was just
nailed
like-
it. I didn't even notice it.
I was like, whoa.
It was for me. It was a gear shift, and like, whoa, but it's only because I went the other way of like when they set it up. I'm like, what a great nod to the comics, what a fantastic reference. But I was like, how are they going to make it make sense that his dad's British? Right? That never happens.
Not
and
even-
then and then there it was, and I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm not lying. I loved it. I was like, good for you,
He
Simon
killed
Pegg.
it. He did such a good job. And
He actually did. I think he did as good a job as Carl Urban having an American accent in Star Trek, which is always a little bit weird too. There's moments in Star Trek when you watch him as Bones where you're like, oh, you didn't quite get that. We didn't quite nail the enunciation on that one, but we'll give it to
I
you.
thought Simon Pegg nailed it.
I love Simon Pegg. I just felt like he was a big distraction every time he was on screen because I was like,
Towards the end of
fucking
the
Simon
season,
Pegg.
I feel like he's such a subtle character. And again, this is all building.
It's just weird. It was weird. I love it. Don't get me wrong. It was weird casting, but I feel like Seth Rogen pops up a little bit here and there because obviously he was one of the producers and one of the reasons why the show got made. That kind of made a little bit more sense because he shows up as himself.
Yeah,
He's a
like
director.
an E-Entertainment interview, right? About
But that's what I'm saying. Had Seth
Black
Rogen
Noir.
been one of the side characters, we're like, that is too big. He's too big of a name.
Question I have: Starlight. She gets shot by Butcher.
She's bulletproof.
They're all
Yeah,
bulletproof.
bulletproof, super strong.
Dee had the same question. She's like, didn't he just shoot her in the chest like a 50 cal? I'm like,
Giant,
Yeah,
yeah.
they're all indestructible.
Yeah, yeah.
when she got back up, I was like, what are her powers?
Yeah.
The thing is, does she
I don't
fly?
Like, why is
Why is she
A-Train
bullet-
indestructible,
yeah.
but then they
But
can,
then he can- his leg
break
can
his
break.
leg? Well, I guess because Kimiko broke his leg and she's got.
Yeah, she's super strong.
But is she? Because she gets her ass kicked kind of and then doesn't sometimes. I don't know.
She was fighting.
Yeah.
I will
Black
say this.
Noir.
Shout out to the scene where she escapes and instead of being mauled by her, the guy blows his own head off.
That
I was
was
like, oh
awesome.
my God.
Great, yeah.
What a great way to set a character up.
Or when she runs into the place that brought her, the nail shop,
nail shop,
and just
yeah.
decimates this
Stab,
woman's
stab.
body.
The shot
intense.
where we get all the different TV shows when they're flipping through the channels, and it's Mesmer or whatever, like the
Yeah,
show,
yeah.
and
And then
then
we
it's
see
him,
him.
Dude,
and
when-
it's Haley Joel Osment.
When they did it,
love
when
it.
they were doing the pan, I'm like, who is this going to be? Who are they casting
God
here?
bless
And
him.
I flipped out.
So
God bless.
perfect.
Haley Joel Osment I've come full circle on him. Where at first I was like, oh, okay, he's playing these
Don't
weird
talk
characters.
shit about secondhand lines. I love that movie.
He gets where he's at. He plays these fun little characters, and it's such a great commentary on the childhood acting.
Yeah.
I love it. I love
Yeah.
it so much. Also, what a violent fucking death he got. Oh my God. Violent.
He did not have super invulnerability or whatever.
No, he was not
No,
bulletproof,
yeah.
or at least not porcelain proof, because
Yeah.
he got his head fucking canoed by a
yeah.
sink, and it was
God.
horrifying.
Yeah.
I love how much Butcher just hates any superhero.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if they can
But this
help
will be
him or
interesting to
not.
see though, because now it will be interesting to see if that vengeance is still in him in
Yeah.
season 2. I'm guaranteeing it will, but
I
like
hope he doesn't die. He's such a good character, and I love
I don't think they'll
how
kill
he
him.
handles every situation.
he's too fun to watch on screen.
Yeah.
That beard is great.
And anytime he's like,
You should
the
dress up as
plan
Butcher
goes
for
wrong,
Halloween.
he just nails the
Mesmer.
transition between the next like move to keep himself going.
Yeah.
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 And we
Ah.
get those little moments of him like walking away and just being like,
I like it.
Yeah.
I'm in for season
Yeah.
2. I think I like the more like the murky gray areas that they're playing around in here with, and I think it's
Definitely.
And I'm all about Starlight, man. I thought she did a
She was
great
great.
job.
Yeah.
So damn good the entire way through. I feel like some of the things they gave her to do were a little bit weird, but anytime that she had like a standout scene, I was like,
But I
really
mean,
liked her
again, you have to put it in
presence.
context. That's why I like her character. You have to put it in context of her being young, of like early 20s, kind of naive to the world, and really finding her own place. And I like that scene with her and Maeve where she's throwing up and she's like, "Hey, you got to be yourself.
Yeah.
We already got
already
that
one of
role
me."
covered,
Yeah.
right?" And it's
That's
it's
not
a
where she's
great.
throwing up. That's later. When she's throwing up, Maeve is like, never make them.
Don't
like,
show weakness.
Don't show this sort of weakness.
No, that was when she was crying. When she throws up at the party, Maeve goes, "Hey, we already have
Oh,
one of
yeah.
me." Because she's dressed like her, sexy.
that when she shows
throwing
the-
up. And then she
I
goes,
broke
"Yeah,
my arm.
I did
Oh,
break
right,
my
right,
arm."
right,
Like
right,
you got to
right,
go
you're
be
right.
your own person. I thought that was cool. All the stuff with the Christianity, I thought was like, there's a lot of this, which was kind
There was
of
there was a lot.
Like, why are all the superheroes like super Bible thumping? I
But
thought
that
it
makes,
should.
That makes
I,
money
I
then.
thought, yeah.
I thought
enjoyed
it
the-
shouldn't have been Homelander. I thought it should have just been the guy with the blonde haircut, who was the
Ezekiel.
closeted guy,
Ezekiel,
Ezekiel,
yeah.
which I thought was cool. But then they kind of make reference to him dying, and you're like, did someone kill him?
No, they make references to him. Or I remember them making a reference to him getting blackmailed.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, I think so.
Because Homelander was like first Translucent, then Ezekiel. I was like, well, what happened?
Well,
Did they kill
I
him?
thought just getting fucked.
I guess so.
Yeah.
Well, he got fucked.
Yeah.
And did some fucking.
Yeah. Anyways, I loved a standout thing for me is I loved Huey's growth, where it starts out, you see his dad, you see these people are really non-committal, they're
Non-confrontational.
making decisions. It seems like a challenge. He's trying to talk to his boss about getting
raise.
a raise, and it just like his boss just shoos him away, and that was it. And seeing the motivation that pushes him to go further and further just all made so much sense to me, and I loved it. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like, and obviously the story would need to change for this to work, but like you could take Huey out entirely. And
Oh,
I'd
it's
be
crazy.
fine.
I mean,
he's the thing I
Huey's
care
the
about least in this
Yeah.
entire show.
And you were saying where like things are really convenient, but I think that's part of kind of like the narrative where it's like, there's a line where Butcher says to Huey, like, you think God like made it so your girlfriend got killed? And I think that's part of like, this is all happening for a reason. Like, this isn't random accidents. I think that there's, this is all kind of meant to be so that they can stop.
Yeah.
The
Well, I mean, I
evils.
think to Tim's point though, like I do want to see Huey not be so conflicted in season 2. Like he kind of came into his own by the end of season 1, and if they start season 2 where he's still like, oh shucks, it's gonna be like, dude, kill it. Like,
I
kill
think
him.
No, they
I
can't. I
think
think
we're
he's
totally
indifferent.
past
Yeah,
that.
He's got to be through.
Especially now
he's
that
got to be a team member. He's
Well,
got to
that
be a
was the
tech
thing
guy.
I thought they did a great job with Huey, where it was for him to be like the comics, all in with Butcher, we're doing this kind of thing, and then waver, but then be given the stakes of Starlight, right? Where he does know she's a good person, he is falling in love with her, and then to have those mash up, like when Butcher comes to the bar, his friend comes to the bar, and then have to use her to get back with Ezekiel. It's like, I liked those moments. I agree towards the end, we were in an uncomfortable. Maybe not. It was 3/4 of the way there instead of all the way there.
It's just, I said this earlier, but it's just like I liked all the elements. I did like them together. Just in this show, I didn't
Too
like
much
it.
together,
Like, it's
yeah.
just
A
like
lot.
I feel like there was so much cool drama that they were setting up, and there was so many plot lines that are very the drug, the idea of the superheroes, the business of superheroes, the movies,
Cool stuff.
like all that stuff's cool, and it's like I would have much rather spend time on that than
Sure.
the more time on stuff that you're right never gets 100% there. Is always maybe 80.
I thought Jack Quaid's performance was real good.
I thought it was
I
fantastic.
thought, I thought he was good, but I'm gonna give a special shout out to Anthony Starr,
Yeah.
who's the guy that plays Homelander.
Oh my God,
who
yeah.
it fucking nails every
Yeah.
scene he's in. Like even just the creepy moments where you think he's staring at himself,
Dude, right?
And
When I
he's
remember
not.
seeing-
He's
Oh my
staring
God.
through the
Starlight
wall.
came in, he
Just
was staring at the
obsessing.
wall, and we didn't know yet. I was just like, all right, so
This
is
guy's
there,
weird.
is there
Picture of
Homelander?
himself.
Like when they introduced the babies, I was like, this isn't the first Homelander. They're growing these kids. They're giving them powers. They're like, and they're starting to break down or something. He's because like when Starlight comes out and she starts talking to him and he doesn't even acknowledge. It's like weird. And then you get it that he's just staring at her. I was like, oh my god,
So good.
Fucking twisted,
good,
twisted shit.
And
All the conversations he has, hey buddy, come on in, and you're like,
Exactly.
oh, this is gonna go dark.
yeah.
Every time he's like setting up a meeting with someone,
I get
and like
anxious.
you see the fear of like the other 7 members just being like, "Fuck." I hope I
Deep
don't
was the one
die.
character I thought never turned a corner for me. Where it was, he's the deep, and I granted, like, at the end, like he obviously, does the rape stuff in the beginning and then gets to being kicked out to Idaho, Oklahoma, wherever.
Idaho.
I think it was
Where?
Idaho.
And so you're
St.
like,
Dusty?
Ohio.
Ohio.
Yeah, okay. And so it's like, but like, even then he's like comic relief with the dolphin through the
dolphin
window.
was great. It was
Awesome.
so funny.
I'm not against the scene.
Loved that.
Yeah.
I don't think they needed to do the lobster scene because it's just like
I like
we
it.
get it. He sucks. We get it. He sucks. He's dumb. He can't figure out how to save.
But the Gills bit, I did not like at all.
I didn't either.
think
I thought
they're
that was
trying
a
to make
bit
us feel
much.
sympathetic,
Yeah.
and it's like, no, first off. And on top of that, it's like, this is weird as fuck. And like, it's uncomfortable. It's not. And like, I get that was kind of the goal, but like, it's uncomfortable in the wrong way.
I think the goal was to show sort of like what caused him to get to that point where he needed to abuse other people. Was like he felt like a freak. He felt like it wasn't like he didn't want to show himself to people. He never felt like he was really accepted. I don't think it ever matured properly storytelling wise. I'm interested to see what they do with him in season 2 because the idea of like, can that character ever be redeemed with the horrible shit that he's done? I think it's a fascinating playground to play in. And I think, but where we leave him, I think is a great place where he is fucking gone. He is off his rocker. He's shaving his head. He doesn't know how to deal with the things that he's done and the ramifications of those things. And I think that's definitely one of those storylines, along with Starlight's storyline, that I think is super contemporary and fascinating for the time that we're in right now.
My only issue with the Deep is like I don't buy that he feels bad about what he did. I think he's just like now this is the consequences.
That's the thing, though,
Yeah.
and that's what's fascinating about exploring that character and where he's at. Does he feel bad? Does he not feel bad? Will he ever understand like what that? And I think the idea of someone abusing him was supposed to put him in that mindset of saying like, "Oh, I get what I've done."
I got the feeling
he's very conflicted, and it's I don't know. We'll see.
I got
He
the
needs to go
feeling
deeper.
that was like them being like, "Look, the world makes everything right," and now he's like having to go through this. And I just was like,
No, I think it was more of just like people treating him like an object or like a freak was something that he has either gone through or needs to go through more to be understanding and like
those girls are fucking horrifying.
What the fuck was that girl's problem, man?
she's just
Get
creepy.
your fingers out of there.
Yeah, don't put
She
your
liked
fingers in
it,
my
dude.
gills.
But it's like
It worked for her.
Nah, bro.
I was shocked that he didn't like slap her away and like kill her.
Yeah. Like
Yeah,
you're done.
Yeah.
Get your fingers out
But
of my
I-
gills.
maybe
His
that-
weakness is if you're in his gills, he's got no powers.
but like
He just looked like he was.
I will say shout out to that actor who was jacked. Oh man,
guy
tell you, a
from
lot of
Gossip
not
Girl.
male nudity in this, and he looked the best. He looked great.
That was a tight ass.
God, he has a
all
pert
right,
ass.
all right.
Carl Urban second runner up on
Good
that.
ass.
Yeah.
Oh my god, yeah, when he got out of bed. Then.
a lot of
Scared
good
to
ass
show
in
his
the
dick
show.
though. You know what I mean?
Also,
Hey,
at any
man,
point did
save
you
some
think that
for
they were
season
like, we wanted to get Bradley Cooper for that role that Anthony Starr played, but we couldn't get him, so we got Anthony Starr because he like looked exactly like Bradley Cooper at moments.
I loved Anthony Starr. Like
I think if they made
don't
this
know.
into a movie, Bradley Cooper would have played that role. It would have been perfect.
I don't know.
But I'm just saying that because they look a lot alike.
Yeah, I was super impressed by this Anthony Starr guy.
He did great.
Yeah. All right, so I think we all very clearly recommend this show. Go and watch this show. It is fucked up. It's very graphic though, so just be ready for that.
Get ready for graphics.
Yeah, and they get there real quick.
Real quick.
Can't wait for season 2. Thank you guys so much for joining
Been
us.
announced already.
Yeah.
I think they're filming it already.
Yeah.
It's happening.
Yeah. Thank you guys for joining us. Yeah, and go home and watch The Boys tonight. Check that out. Let me know if you like it. You can find us on the social media.
Oh, a lot of
find-
good. I liked Jack Quaid's constant music shirts and
Oh,
then
yeah,
the
yeah,
Billy
yeah.
Joel stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah,
a lot of good.
You can follow Greg at Game Over Greggy. You can follow Nick at Nick_Scarpino. You can follow Tim at Tim Gettys. You can follow me at Kinda Funny Kevin. Thank you guys so much. Go watch The Boys. It's awesome.